Lisa Miller stood on the bridge of the exploration vessel Horizon and stared at the massive screen in front of her. The strange ship floated silently in the darkness of space between Jupiter and Saturn. It was huge, at least 3 kilometers long, with a dark metal hull covered in odd patterns that seemed to change when looked at from different angles. Lisa had been the commander of the Horizon for 5 years now, but she had never seen anything like this before. The United Space Coalition had sent them to investigate an unusual energy reading, but nobody had expected to find an alien ship. "Any life signs?" Lisa asked, turning to look at Jack Bailey, her science officer. Jack was hunched over his control panel, his fingers moving quickly across the screen as he ran more scans. "None that I can detect," Jack said without looking up. His voice was calm, but Lisa could see the excitement in his eyes. "But there is something strange about this ship. The design looks almost familiar in some ways." "What do you mean?" Lisa asked, walking over to look at his screen. "I mean that some of the features match our own theories about deep space travel," Jack explained. "It's like looking at an advanced version of something we might build ourselves one day." Lisa frowned. That was odd. She turned to her communications officer, Peter Hall. "Send a message back to Earth. Tell them what we found and that we plan to investigate." Peter nodded and began to type. Lisa looked back at the alien ship on the main screen. After years of searching the stars for signs of other intelligent life, they had finally found something. But why was it here, in their own solar system, and why did it look partly familiar? "I want a boarding team ready in 30 minutes, Lisa said. "Jack, you'll lead it. Take Sam Wright and Olivia Reed with you. Full environment suits until we know it's safe." Jack nodded and left the bridge to prepare. Lisa watched the strange ship on the screen for a few more minutes. Something about this discovery made her feel uneasy, but she couldn't explain why. 90 minutes later, Jack and his team were inside the alien vessel. Lisa watched their progress through the video feed from their helmets. "The corridors are wide and tall," Jack reported as they moved slowly through the ship. "The air seems breathable according to our sensors. Temperature is similar to Earth normal, and the gravity, it feels exactly like Earth's gravity." "That's not a coincidence," Sam Wright said. Sam was their best engineer, always calm and thoughtful. "These doorways look sized for humans too." Lisa watched as the team moved deeper into the ship. The interior was mostly empty, with smooth walls and floors made of a material that looked like metal, but gave slightly under their boots. The lighting came from strips along the ceiling that glowed with a soft blue light. "We're approaching what looks like a central chamber," Jack said after they had been exploring for about an hour. "There's some kind of writing or symbols on the walls here." The video showed strange patterns carved into the walls. They didn't look like any language Lisa had ever seen, but they had a certain order to them that suggested they were not just decorative. "Our computer is trying to analyze them," Olivia Reed said. Olivia was their language specialist, brought along just in case they found any signs of communication. It might take some time without a reference point. The team entered the central chamber. It was a large, round room with a raised platform in the center. The walls were covered in more of the strange symbols, and there were several control panels around the edges of the room. "Look at this," Jack said, moving toward one of the panels. "These controls, they're labeled with symbols, but the layout makes sense from a human perspective. Here's what looks like a power control, and these could be navigation systems." "How would you know that?" Lisa asked through the comm. "Because they're arranged logically the way we would arrange them," Jack replied. "It's like this ship was designed to be understood by humans." Sam had moved to the center platform and was examining something there. "You all need to see this," he said, his voice suddenly tense. The camera feed from Sam's helmet showed what looked like a large map or display embedded in the platform. It showed a star system with 8 planets. "That's our solar system," Sam said. "And look, this third planet is highlighted." The image zoomed in to show a blue planet with green and brown landmasses. It was unmistakably Earth. "There's some kind of plaque or marker here," Sam continued, moving to the edge of the platform. The camera showed a metal plate with an engraved image. "It shows Earth's continents exactly as they look from space. And there's writing under it." Olivia said, kneeling down to look closer. The computer is starting to make sense of some of these symbols. It's calling Earth home of the deadliest species. A silence fell over both the team on the ship and the crew watching from the horizon. Are you sure about that translation? Lisa finally asked. The computer is giving it a 90% confidence rating, Olivia replied. It seems to be a warning or a designation of some kind. There's more, Jack said, moving to another panel that had lit up when Sam touched the platform. This seems to be activating more systems in the ship. I think it was in some kind of sleep mode until we arrived. Lisa watched as lights began to come on throughout the ship. Displays and control panels flickered to life, showing more symbols and images. The ship is powering up, Sam reported. But it doesn't seem threatening. It's like it was waiting for someone to find it. Waiting for us specifically, Jack added. Lisa, I think this ship was left here for humans to find. The question is why? Before Lisa could respond, one of the large wall panels in the chamber slid open, revealing a new room beyond. Should we check it out? Jack asked. Lisa hesitated. Every instinct told her to be cautious, but they had come too far to turn back now. Proceed, but carefully, she said. The team moved into the new room. It was smaller than the central chamber, with what looked like rows of containers along the walls. In the center was a single larger container, about the size of a coffin made of a clear material. It's some kind of storage room, Sam suggested. Or maybe a medical bay. Jack approached the central container and wiped away a layer of dust from its surface. There's something inside, he said. The camera showed what appeared to be a humanoid figure inside the container. It was hard to make out details through the frosted surface. Is it alive? Lisa asked. Unknown, Jack replied. But there are lights on this container that the others don't have. It might be some kind of stasis pod. Olivia had moved to a control panel near the door. I think I can translate some of this now, she said. It mentions emissary and awakening and something about a return. Return to where? Lisa wondered. Earth, maybe, Sam suggested. If this ship knows about Earth, calls it home to the deadliest species, maybe whatever is in that pod is meant to go there. Or maybe it came from there, Jack said quietly. Lisa thought for a moment. We need more information before we do anything else. Jack, have Olivia continue working on translating those symbols. Sam, see if you can download any data from those control systems. But don't touch that pod or try to open it yet. We need to know what we're dealing with first. Understood, Jack replied. As the team continued their investigation, Lisa couldn't shake the feeling that they had stumbled onto something much bigger than a simple alien ship. The fact that it seemed designed for human use, that it recognized Earth, and that it called humans the deadliest species, all pointed to a connection they didn't yet understand. Whatever the truth was, Lisa knew that their discovery would change everything. Humanity had always wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now they had their answer. But that answer had come with a disturbing new question. Why did aliens consider humans the deadliest species? And what did that mean for Earth's future? Olivia Clark had never expected to be called to the Houston Space Center on such short notice. She was a linguistics professor at a university in California, not an astronaut or space scientist. But when the government officials arrived at her office and showed her the images from the alien ship, she understood why they needed her. She had spent her career studying how languages evolve and connect to each other. If anyone could help understand the alien symbols, it might be her. Now she sat in a large room filled with computers and screens, surrounded by military personnel and scientists all waiting for her to make sense of the alien writing. The pressure was enormous. Have you made any progress, Dr. Clark? Asked General Alan Scott, a tall man with gray hair who seemed to be in charge of the military side of the operation. Olivia nodded without looking up from her computer. Yes, I think so. The symbols have patterns that remind me of some ancient Earth languages, but with important differences. Our computers are starting to build a basic translation model. How long until we can read everything? The general asked. Days, maybe weeks for a complete translation, Olivia replied. But we already understand some key concepts. The ship contains records about Earth spanning thousands of years. They have been watching us for a very long time. The room fell silent at this news. Commander Lisa Miller, who had been brought back to Earth along with key members of her crew, stepped forward. "Do we know why they were watching us?" Lisa asked. Olivia turned to a large screen and pulled up some of the translated symbols. According to what we can understand so far, Earth is classified as a quarantine zone. The aliens call humans the deadliest species in known space. "They think we're dangerous?" General Scott asked, frowning. "Not exactly," Olivia said. "It's more complicated than that. They seem to respect humans, or maybe fear them in a respectful way. They believe humans have a unique combination of traits not found in other species." "What traits?" Lisa asked. Olivia scrolled through more translated text. "Extreme adaptability, for one. Humans can survive in many different environments and situations. They also mention our technological progress, how quickly we develop new tools and weapons, and something they call the paradox of destructive creation, our ability to tear things down in order to build something better. So, they think we're dangerous because we're good at surviving and building things?" the general asked, sounding confused. "I think they believe we might be the next step in galactic evolution," Olivia explained. "Or possibly a threat to it. The ship itself seems to be some kind of test." "A test? What kind of test?" Lisa asked. "The ship was placed where humans would eventually find it once we develop space travel technology. It contains star maps, technical blueprints, and historical records of what appears to be a community of alien species across many star systems." One of the other scientists in the room, a man named Ben Harris, spoke up. "We've been studying the technical information in the ship's database. Some of it is far beyond our current capabilities, but other parts are surprisingly familiar. Almost. As if what?" General Scott prompted. "As if we were already developing along similar lines," Ben finished. "Some of the alien technology matches theoretical models our own scientists have been working on. It's like we've been on a guided path without knowing it." Olivia nodded. "That matches what I'm finding in the language data. There are suggestions that certain human technologies developed faster than they should have. The aliens seem to believe that Earth has been influenced by outside forces for centuries. Are you saying aliens have been secretly helping us develop technology?" Lisa asked, her voice skeptical. "Or guiding us," Olivia said, "subtly pushing us in certain directions. The question is why." The room was quiet as everyone considered this disturbing possibility. Finally, General Scott broke the silence. "What about the stasis pod? The one with the figure inside it? Have we learned anything about that?" Ben nodded. "We've been analyzing the systems controlling it. It appears to be a life support unit of some kind, designed to keep someone or something alive for an extremely long time. But we haven't tried to open it yet. We're still not sure if it would be safe." "For us or for whatever is inside?" Lisa asked. "Both," Ben admitted. Olivia returned to her computer and pulled up more translated symbols. "I've found references to something called the emissary in connection with the stasis pod. It might be a representative of the alien species, left behind to make contact with humans when we reached a certain level of development. Or it could be a weapon," General Scott said grimly. "If they think we're the deadliest species, maybe they left something here to control us if we became too dangerous." "I don't think so," Olivia said, shaking her head. "Everything I've translated suggests they want to communicate with us, not harm us. They see humans as important somehow." Lisa walked over to look at the images of the alien ship on one of the large screens. "So they left this ship for us to find, filled with advanced technology and knowledge about other worlds. Either they want to help us join their galactic community, or they're testing us to see if we deserve to join. Or if we're too dangerous to be allowed to leave our solar system," General Scott added darkly. Over the next few days, Olivia worked constantly on translating more of the alien language. The more she learned, the more fascinating and disturbing the story became. The aliens, who called themselves the Collective, were actually a group of different species from many star systems who had formed an alliance thousands of years ago. They had been exploring the galaxy when they discovered Earth and began observing human development. What surprised Olivia most was the respect the aliens seemed to have for humans. They described Earth people as uniquely creative, adaptable, and resilient. But they also noted that humans were prone to violence, tribalism, and self-destruction. The collective had apparently been divided about how to handle humanity. Some wanted to make open contact and welcome Earth into their alliance. Others believed humans were too dangerous and unpredictable. The compromise had been the ship, a test and an invitation combined. If humans found the ship and used its knowledge wisely, it would signal their readiness to join the larger galactic community. A week after Olivia had first arrived at the Space Center, she made another shocking discovery. She rushed to find Lisa and General Scott, who were in a meeting with other officials. "I need to speak with you immediately," Olivia said, interrupting the meeting. "I've translated a section of text that changes everything we thought we knew." General Scott frowned but nodded for her to continue. "The ship contains records of human history going back much further than we realized," Olivia explained, her voice tense with excitement. "According to these records, humans have made contact with aliens before, many times throughout our history. Some of our most important technological and cultural leaps were influenced by these contacts." "Are you saying aliens have been secretly guiding human development?" Lisa asked. "Yes, but it's more complicated than that," Olivia replied. "The records suggest that different alien factions have been influencing us in different ways. Some helped us advance while others tried to slow us down or steer us away from certain technologies. Earth has been a kind of battleground for competing alien interests for thousands of years." "This is hard to believe," General Scott said. "Where's the evidence of these interventions in our history?" "The aliens were careful to hide their influence," Olivia explained. "They worked through individual humans who they contacted secretly. Many of our greatest inventors and thinkers may have been receiving alien guidance without even realizing." Why would they do this?" Lisa asked. "What's so special about humans?" Olivia looked down at her notes. "That's the part that's hardest to understand. The records refer to humans as having some kind of genetic or evolutionary potential that the aliens find valuable. They call it the seed of transcendence, whatever that means." "So what happens now?" General Scott asked. "If this ship is a test, how do we pass it?" "I think that's up to us to decide," Olivia said. "The ship has awakened now that we've found it. According to the records, it's sending signals to the collective, letting them know that humans have reached the next stage. They'll be watching how we respond to this discovery." Lisa looked troubled. "So our future depends on what we do with this ship and its knowledge." "Yes," Olivia said simply. "And I think we need to be very careful about our next steps. Because the deadliest species in known space is about to announce its presence to the galaxy." Frank Powell did not trust coincidences. As the head of security for the alien ship project, it was his job to be suspicious. While the scientists excitedly studied the alien technology and language, Frank focused on a different question. Why would aliens who considered humans dangerous give them advanced technology? It made no sense to him. Either the aliens were incredibly stupid, or there was something else going on. Frank was betting on the second option. He had spent 20 years in military intelligence before joining the space program, and his instincts were rarely wrong. There was more to this ship than anyone realized. Frank sat in his small office at the Houston Space Center, reviewing security footage from the alien vessel. The ship had been carefully moved to a secret location in the Nevada desert, where a special facility had been built around it. Only authorized personnel were allowed inside, and everything was recorded and monitored. Frank watched as scientists and engineers moved through the ship, studying its systems and technology. Something caught his eye on one of the screens. A section of the alien ship that had previously been dark was now showing small lights, blinking, in patterns. Frank zoomed in on the image. The lights had started blinking shortly after a team of engineers had accessed a nearby control panel. Frank checked the timestamp. This had happened 3 days ago, but no one had reported the change. Frank picked up his phone and called Lisa Miller, who had been put in charge of the overall project. "Commander Miller, this is Frank Powell. I need to speak with you immediately. It's about the ship. 20 minutes later, Lisa arrived at Frank's office. Her face showed the strain of the past few weeks. Since the discovery of the alien vessel, she had been working almost non-stop coordinating the research teams and reporting to government officials. "What's so urgent, Frank?" she asked as she sat down across from him. Frank turned his monitor so she could see it. "Watch this," he said, playing the security footage. "See those lights? They started activating 3 days ago after the engineering team accessed that control panel. But no one reported it." Lisa leaned forward, frowning. "Maybe they didn't notice or thought it was normal. Or maybe they didn't want us to notice," Frank said. "I've been checking other footage. There are several systems throughout the ship that have started activating as we interact with it. These systems are sending data somewhere." "Sending data? Where?" Lisa asked, her voice sharp with concern. "That's what I need to find out," Frank replied. "But I think the ship is communicating with someone or something. It's reporting on our activities." Before Lisa could respond, Frank's phone rang. It was Diane Foster, a NASA engineer who had been helping analyze the alien technology. "Frank, I need to see you and Commander Miller right away," Diane said, her voice tense. "I've found something in our satellite network that you need to see." "We're in my office," Frank told her. "Come now." While they waited for Diane, Frank showed Lisa more footage of systems activating throughout the ship. "It's like the ship is waking up the more we interact with it," he explained, "but it's doing it secretly, in systems we haven't explored yet." Diane arrived a few minutes later carrying a laptop. She was a small woman with short brown hair and intense eyes. Without waiting for an invitation, she sat down and opened her laptop. "I've been running some tests on our satellite systems," she explained, "looking for any unusual signals or patterns that might be related to the alien ship. I found this." She turned the laptop so they could see the screen. It showed a graph with regular spikes occurring over time. "What are we looking at?" Lisa asked. "These are brief, unexplained signal patterns in our satellite network," Diane said. "They've been occurring for decades, but they were always dismissed as equipment malfunctions or cosmic radiation. But look at the pattern." She pointed to the screen. "It's too regular to be random. Someone or something has been sending signals through our satellite network for years." Frank and Lisa exchanged worried looks. "Are you saying aliens have hacked our satellites?" Lisa asked. "Not hacked exactly," Diane replied. "More like they've been using them as relays, sending small packets of data that wouldn't be noticed among the normal traffic. But when you look at the pattern over time, it becomes clear." "They're already here," Frank said quietly. "They didn't just leave that ship for us to find. They've been monitoring our response." "But who are they?" Lisa asked. "And what do they want?" Before anyone could answer, Frank's phone rang again. It was General Scott, demanding an immediate meeting in the main conference room. Something big was happening. When they arrived at the conference room, it was already full of senior officials, including the president himself, William Howard. The president was a tall, thin man with a serious face. He looked worried. "Thank you all for coming so quickly," the president said once everyone was seated. "We've received a transmission that appears to be from the aliens who built the ship. We found it came through our own communication systems directly to this facility." A hush fell over the room. The president nodded to a technician, who played the message on a large screen. It was a series of symbols similar to those found on the ship, followed by what appeared to be a star map. Olivia Clark, who was also present, studied the symbols intently. "It's using the same language as the ship," she said after a moment. "It says, 'The test has begun. Your response will determine your future. Choose wisely.'" "What test?" the president asked. "What are they expecting us to do?" Olivia looked troubled. "According to the materials we've translated so far, they believe humanity is at a critical point in our development. Our technology has advanced rapidly, but they're concerned about our social evolution. The ship and its contents represent a choice. We can join their galactic community, or we can prove that we're as dangerous as they fear. So they're judging us based on what we do with their technology," General Scott said grimly. "But how do we know what the right choice is?" Frank spoke up. I don't think it's that simple. I found evidence that the ship has been activating dormant systems as we interact with it. These systems are transmitting data somewhere. And Diane Foster has discovered that our satellite network has been receiving strange signals for years. I believe the aliens have been monitoring us for a long time, not just since we found the ship. The president looked alarmed. Are you suggesting we're under surveillance? Yes, sir, Frank replied. And I think the surveillance goes deeper than we realize. I've been reviewing the translated materials from the ship. There are references to human history that suggest our technological development may have been influenced by outside forces. What looks like natural human progress might actually be a carefully guided evolution. The room fell silent as everyone considered the implications of this. Finally, Lisa spoke up. If Frank is right, then the real question is who's doing the influencing and are they helping us or setting us up to fail? We need to find out more about these aliens and what they really want, the president said. Dr. Clark, continue your translation work. Focus on anything that might tell us about their intentions. Frank, I want you to investigate these hidden systems in the ship and the strange signals in our satellite network. Find out who we're dealing with. As the meeting broke up, Frank pulled Lisa aside. There's something else, he said quietly. I've been looking into the stasis pod on the ship, the one with the figure inside it. I think we need to open it. Lisa looked shocked. But we don't know if that's safe. Whatever is in there could be dangerous. I think what's in there is the key to understanding what's really going on, Frank insisted. And I think we're running out of time. If the aliens are testing us, we need to know the rules of the test before we can pass it. Lisa hesitated, then nodded. All right, but we do this carefully with full security measures in place. I'll get a team together. Meet me at the ship in 2 hours. As Frank watched her walk away, he couldn't shake the feeling that they were being manipulated. The aliens had left a ship full of advanced technology right where humans would find it. They had been monitoring Earth for years, and now they were testing humanity's response. But what was the real purpose of the test? Frank intended to find out, even if it meant taking risks. Because one thing was becoming clear. Earth's future might depend on the choices they made in the next few days. 2 hours later, Frank Powell stood outside the section of the alien ship that contained the mysterious stasis pod. Lisa Miller was beside him, along with a team of scientists and security personnel. Everyone wore protective gear, just in case. No one knew what would happen when they opened the pod, but they all felt the weight of the moment. This could be the first face-to-face contact between humans and an alien species. Or it could be something else entirely. Are we ready? Lisa asked, looking at each team member in turn. Ben Harris, the chief scientist, nodded. The pod systems have been studied as thoroughly as possible. We believe we can open it safely. The life support readings suggest that whatever is inside is alive and stable. Security team is in position, Frank confirmed. If anything goes wrong, we can seal this section immediately. Lisa took a deep breath. Okay, let's do it. Ben stepped forward and began the process of opening the stasis pod. He worked carefully, following the procedure they had developed after studying the pod's controls. A soft hissing sound filled the room as the seal on the pod released. The clear cover slowly lifted, revealing the figure inside. Everyone stared in shock. Inside the pod was a human man. He appeared to be in his 40s with dark hair and a lean face. He was wearing what looked like an older version of a standard Earth spacesuit, but with modifications that no one recognized. That's not possible, Ben whispered. How can there be a human in an alien ship? Before anyone could respond, the man's eyes opened. He looked around calmly, seeming unsurprised to see them. Then he spoke, in perfect English. Hello. My name is Daniel Nelson. I've been waiting for you. The room erupted in chaos as everyone spoke at once. Frank moved forward, his hand on his weapon. Who are you? He demanded. How are you here? The man slowly sat up in the pod. As I said, my name is Daniel Nelson. I was part of a space mission 20 years ago. Officially, the mission failed and all crew members were lost. In reality, I was chosen for a different purpose. Lisa stepped forward. Daniel Nelson? From the Athena mission? But that ship was destroyed in an accident near Mars. Daniel nodded. That's the official story. The truth is more complicated. He looked around at all of them. I imagine you have many questions. I'm here to provide answers, but first I need to know how much you've learned from the ship. For the next hour in a secure conference room, Daniel listened as Lisa, Frank, and Olivia explained everything they had discovered. He nodded occasionally, but didn't seem surprised by anything they said. So you know that the ship contains technology beyond our current capabilities, Daniel said when they finished. And you've discovered that Earth has been monitored by an alien alliance for a long time. You've even begun to suspect that human development has been influenced by outside forces. Are you saying all of that is true? Lisa asked. Yes, Daniel replied simply. But there's much more to the story. It's time you learned the truth about humanity's place in the galaxy. Everyone in the room leaned forward, eager to hear what he would say. Humans are not native to Earth, Daniel began, his voice calm and matter of fact. At least not originally. Tens of thousands of years ago, humans were an advanced spacefaring species. We had spread across several star systems and made contact with other intelligent life forms. We were known throughout this sector of the galaxy as innovative, adaptable, and resourceful. But we were also warlike and territorial. In our expansion, we destroyed 2 inhabited worlds that resisted us, Frank interrupted. You expect us to believe that humans destroyed alien worlds? We've only just developed the technology to reach our own moon and nearby planets. That's because we lost everything, Daniel explained. The Galactic Alliance, which you've been calling the Collective, faced a difficult decision about how to deal with humanity. Some wanted to eliminate us entirely, seeing us as too dangerous to exist. Others argued that humans had potential, despite our flaws. In the end, they chose a middle path: rehabilitation. What does that mean? Olivia asked. Earth was established as a controlled environment where humans could evolve again from primitive beginnings, Daniel said. Our history was erased, our technology taken away. We were essentially reset to a pre-civilization state to see if we would make different choices the second time around. The room was silent as everyone tried to process this shocking information. So, Earth is what, some kind of alien experiment? Lisa finally asked. In a way, Daniel acknowledged, but it's more complex than that. The experiment was to see if humans, given a second chance, would develop differently, if we would still be innovative and adaptable, but perhaps less destructive. Different factions within the Alliance had different ideas about how to guide this development. Some believed in minimal interference, letting humans evolve naturally. Others wanted to provide subtle guidance, introducing key technological concepts at critical moments. And which faction were you working with? Frank asked, his voice suspicious. Daniel smiled slightly. I was chosen by a group that believes humanity has unique potential. They selected certain humans to be awakened early, to serve as observers and guides. I was one of them. How many others are there? Frank demanded. Several dozen, spread around the world, Daniel replied. We live among you, helping to guide human development in small ways. We report back to our faction within the Alliance. Olivia had been quiet, but now she spoke up. The ship. It wasn't placed for us to find, was it? It was already here. Daniel nodded, looking impressed. Very good. Yes, this ship is the original vessel that brought the first humans to Earth. It was programmed to remain hidden in the outer solar system until humanity reached a specific technological threshold. Then it would reveal itself, as it did to your expedition. But why now? Lisa asked. Why reveal all this to us at this moment? 2 reasons, Daniel said. First, because you've reached the point where you would soon discover it on your own. Your scientists are already developing theories about human genetics and evolution that would eventually lead to questions about our origins. Second, because there's a threat coming that requires the particular human talent for survival. What threat? Frank asked sharply. The Galactic Alliance has fractured, Daniel explained. The debate about humanity has been ongoing for thousands of years. Some species still believe the human experiment has failed and push for containment or extinction. They point to your wars, your environmental damage, your social inequalities as evidence that humans remain too dangerous. Others see potential in humanity's unique evolutionary path. They believe you could bring something valuable to the wider galactic community. And which side is winning this debate? Lisa asked quietly. That depends on what happens next, Daniel said. How Earth responds to the revelation of its true history and place in the galaxy. How humans handle the advanced technology contained in this ship, whether you use it for defense or aggression. Frank leaned forward. You said there's a threat coming. What exactly does that mean? The faction that believes humans are too dangerous has gained influence in recent years, Daniel explained. They've been pushing for more direct intervention, on Earth, to limit human development before you spread beyond this solar system. Recently, they've begun preparing for military action. They're planning to attack Earth? Lisa asked, sounding shocked. Not immediately, Daniel assured her. But they're positioning forces in nearby systems. If humans respond to the ship's discovery with aggression or by attempting to weaponize its technology, they will use that as justification to act. And your faction? Frank asked. What do they want? We believe humanity deserves the chance to join the galactic community as equals, Daniel said. We think your unique combination of adaptability, innovation, and yes, even your capacity for controlled aggression could be valuable. The galaxy is not always a peaceful place. There are threats that require a certain willingness to fight when necessary. Olivia had been thinking quietly. Now she asked, if humans are originally from another world, which one? Where did we come? From before Earth? A shadow passed over Daniel's face. That's a complicated question. The original human homeworld was destroyed in the conflict that led to our rehabilitation. Its name in our original language would sound something like Terrace. Earth was chosen because it closely resembled our original home. Lisa stood up and paced the room, trying to absorb everything they had learned. So what happens now? What are we supposed to do with this information? That's up to you, Daniel said. I can guide you, but the choices must be your own. That's the point of the experiment, to see what humans will choose when presented with the truth and given access to advanced technology. And if we make the wrong choice? Frank asked. Daniel looked at him steadily. Then humanity might not get a third chance. The weeks following Daniel's revelation were filled with intense activity and debate. President Howard had been informed of everything, and he faced the difficult task of deciding how much to tell the public. Some advisors argued that people had a right to know the truth about human origins. Others feared that such shocking news would cause panic and chaos. In the end, they decided on a gradual approach. The discovery of the alien ship was announced, but the full story of humanity's past would be revealed slowly, after people had time to adjust to the idea that they were not alone in the universe. Meanwhile, Lisa Miller found herself working closely with Daniel Nelson and a small team of scientists, military officials, and government representatives. Their task was to decide how to use the advanced technology from the ship and prepare Earth for possible contact with the Galactic Alliance. It was the most important job Lisa had ever had, and the pressure was enormous. We need to focus on defensive systems first, General Scott argued during one meeting. They were gathered in a secure room deep within the Nevada facility that housed the alien ship. If there's a hostile faction out there that wants to contain or eliminate humanity, we need to be ready to protect ourselves. I disagree, said Olivia Clark. Using the technology for weapons will only confirm their fears about us. We should focus on communication systems to establish peaceful contact with the friendly factions. Daniel listened to the debate with a neutral expression. When asked for his opinion, he spoke carefully. Both approaches have merit. Earth does need defenses, but how you develop them will send a message to the Alliance. Weapons designed purely for aggression will be seen differently than systems meant to protect and preserve life. Frank Powell, who had been quiet for most of the meeting, finally spoke up. I think we're missing something important here. Daniel, you said that humans were once an advanced species before being reset on Earth. Does that mean we might have Inherited certain traits or abilities from our original form? Daniel nodded slowly. That's a perceptive question. Yes, while your technology was taken away, the fundamental human potential remained. In fact, part of the experiment was to see which human traits would emerge again naturally. And what traits are those? Lisa asked. Adaptability is the most significant, Daniel replied. Humans can thrive in almost any environment. You're also natural innovators, finding creative solutions to problems that other species might approach, in more straightforward ways. And you have a unique capacity for cooperation under pressure. Individual humans may fight each other, but when faced with an external threat, you can set aside differences and work together in remarkable ways. So, these are the traits that make us the deadliest species? Lisa asked. Partly, Daniel acknowledged. But there's something else, something the Alliance calls the paradox of destructive creation. Humans are willing to tear down existing structures to build something new. Most species in the Alliance are more conservative, preferring stability over innovation. They find the human comfort with creative destruction both fascinating and frightening. As the weeks passed, Earth began to change. Using the knowledge from the alien ship, scientists developed new technologies at an astonishing rate. Energy systems became cleaner and more efficient. Medical treatments improved dramatically. Communication networks grew faster and more reliable. But there were problems too. Different nations competed for access to the alien technology. Some groups feared change and resisted the new developments. Others worried that humans were advancing too quickly, without the wisdom to use their new powers responsibly. Then, 3 months after the discovery of the ship, the first sign of the hostile faction appeared. A small fleet of unknown vessels was detected near the edge of the solar system. They made no attempt to communicate and positioned themselves to block Earth's access to the outer planets. They're here, Daniel said grimly when the news reached the team. The containment faction has made its move. What do they want? President Howard asked during an emergency meeting. His face looked tired and worried on the large screen that connected him to the team in Nevada. To isolate Earth, Daniel explained. To prevent humans from expanding beyond this solar system. They believe you're not ready to join the wider galactic community. They will use force to stop you, Daniel said simply. Their technology is far beyond your current capabilities, even with what you've learned from the ship. So we're trapped here? Lisa asked, feeling a surge of anger. After everything we've learned, after all our progress, they're just going to lock us in our own solar system? Not necessarily, Daniel said. There's another faction arriving as well, the one I work with. They believe humanity deserves a chance to prove itself. The two sides have been debating Earth's fate for centuries. Now the debate has reached a critical point. And we're what? Just supposed to wait while they decide our future? Frank asked bitterly. No, Daniel said firmly. You're supposed to demonstrate why humanity deserves to be part of the Alliance. The actions you take now will determine how this conflict resolves. Over the next few days, more ships arrived in the solar system. Some joined the blockade. Others positioned themselves between Earth and the hostile vessels. Tensions rose as the two alien factions faced off, with humanity caught in the middle. In a bold move, President Howard authorized a transmission to all the alien ships. Crafted with help from Daniel and Olivia, the message expressed humanity's desire for peaceful contact and cooperation, while also firmly asserting Earth's right to determine its own destiny. We know now that we were once part of the wider galactic community, the message stated. We accept that our ancestors' actions led to our isolation, but we are not the same humans who destroyed worlds. We have evolved, learned, and grown. We ask not for special treatment, but for the opportunity to demonstrate that we can be valuable members of your alliance. The response came 3 days later, when a single ship from the friendly faction landed on Earth. Its representatives met with a delegation led by President Howard, with Lisa, Daniel, Frank, and Olivia among the humans present. The alien representative, a tall being with silvery skin and large eyes, spoke through a translation device. Your message has been received and considered by the Alliance Council. There are still those who fear human potential, who believe your species is too dangerous to join our community. But there are also many who see value in your unique perspective and abilities. And what has the council decided? President Howard asked. That humanity must prove itself, the alien replied. Not through words, but through actions. The blockade will remain in place for now, but you will be given the opportunity to demonstrate your worthiness. How are we supposed to do that if we're trapped in our own solar system? Frank asked, unable to hide his frustration. The alien turned to look at him. The test is not about your ability to travel beyond your solar system. It is about how you handle the knowledge and technology you have been given. Will you use it for destruction to fight against the blockade? Or will you find another way, a human way, to solve this problem? After the meeting, the team gathered to discuss their options. The situation seemed impossible. They couldn't fight their way past the blockade, but accepting permanent confinement to the solar system felt like failure. There has to be another solution, Lisa insisted. Something they're not expecting. Daniel, you said humans are good at finding creative solutions to problems. Well, we need one now. Daniel nodded thoughtfully. The Alliance values certain principles: peace, cooperation, sustainable development. If Earth could demonstrate commitment to these values, while also showing the unique human capacity for innovation. What if we create a shield? Olivia suggested suddenly. Not a weapon, but a defensive system that makes aggression impossible without harming the aggressor. The idea sparked excitement. Using the technology from the ship, combined with human innovations, they began to design a system unlike anything the Alliance had seen before. It would create a field around Earth that absorbed and redirected hostile energy, making it impossible to attack the planet without causing self-harm. But it would allow peaceful ships to pass through unharmed. When the system was finally activated 3 months later, the effect was immediate. The hostile faction found their weapons useless. Several ships tried to penetrate the shield, only to have their energy weapons reflected back at them, causing minor but telling damage. The friendly faction called for a meeting of the Alliance Council. Earth's shield had changed the equation. Humanity had demonstrated not only advanced technical ability, but also a commitment to defense rather than aggression. The shield protected Earth without threatening others. It was the perfect symbol of what humans could contribute to the Alliance. Gradually, the blockade was lifted. Alliance representatives began regular visits to Earth, and selected humans were invited to visit Alliance worlds. The quarantine that had lasted for thousands of years was ending. This is just the beginning, Daniel told Lisa as they watched. The first official human diplomatic vessel prepared to depart for an Alliance homeworld. Lisa had been chosen as its captain. Humanity has a long way to go, but you've taken the first step toward rejoining the galactic community.